Okay, it's been about a month, so it's time to get back on the twins. And twin number 1 right here. This is twin number 1, restore number 82. Going to get moved to my shop, and we're going to get started on the rebuild. Here we go. Alright, so here's twin number 1 and the first stages of rebuilding. Here's what's left of the body. And I've moved the rebuilding components into my shop. So I've got to replace the rope on this number 82. It's 1957 7.5 AD-11. I've got to replace the rope and probably replace the handle. I have to rebuild the Magneto, coils, points, condensers, spark plug wires, boots. I have to rebuild the carburetor, new carb kit, clean it out, shine it up. I have to modify the intake manifold for the fuel pump conversion from 2-line to single line. Checked her for compression. She's got 70-70 loaded on the motor, which is good for 7.5. Then I have to replace all the 3 seals: lower seal, upper seal, shift boot seal, impeller, gear oil, pressure test, and clean her up. So I'm going to document each step of that process. Here we go. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is modify the fuel system for the single holes from the dual holes. So that involves taking the carburetor manifold off, taking the reed valves off, and sticking a 5/8 vacuum tube cap into one of the holes after you remove the 2 valves that were right there. Remove the valves, stick the 5/8 tube to block one side of the reed valves. That converts it to a pulse. And I'm going to place the carburetor manifold back together, and that'll finish step 1. Okay, now I'm going to replace the rope and the handle on the rewind starter. So I got the rope pulled all the way out and then held with a clamp. I'm going to cut the old rope out. I'm going to add my new rope in and put a new handle on her. Handle is a starter handle 18-4901. So I'll show you the finished product when I'm done. Alright, there it is. Got the new rope and new handle placed on the rewind starter. That project is done. Moving on. Alright, so next I'm going to rebuild the Magneto ignition system. I'm going to rip all the parts off, the coils, the points, the condensers. I'm going to replace it with new coils, part number 183-4477, and I'm going to replace the points and condensers with the tune-up kit from Sierra. Tune-up kit number is 18-5006. I'm going to go for it and show you the finished product. Okay, I got the ignition Magneto ripped apart. Here's the plate, empty. Got all the parts that are not going back in, the wires, condensers, coils set aside. Here's the nuts and small screws that are going to go back in when I put the new coils and the new points and condensers on. So moving on to the rebuild, next step. Alright, there she is, rebuilt Magneto. New coils, new condensers, new points, a new wiper, New spark plug wires. Rebuilt. Moving on. Alright, our next step is to rebuild the carburetor. Tear it completely apart, clean her, replace her, rebuild her with the carb kit from Sierra 18-7043. So let's get started on that. Alright, I got the carb disassembled and not in too bad a shape. Parts were gummed up, varnished up pretty good, as you can see with the filter here. So it definitely needed cleaning. So I got all the parts here that are going to be replaced, all the seals parts. I got the parts that need cleaning right here. I also want to point out that I took out the plug here, punched it out with a punch. It's got all kind of cleaning holes to soak in that get into all the passageways. So I got my Berryman Chem Dip here. I'm going to drop everything in it for 45 minutes. Should be clean, and then we'll do the rebuild. Here we go. Alright, here we go with the carburetor. Cleaned, polished up. Rebuilt. All the parts changed on it. Cap replaced, plug replaced, gaskets replaced, cork, the gaskets, all the jets, all done. Carburetor project rebuild complete. Okay, now we're moving on to the gear case. So I'm going to change the impeller with a new impeller, and I'm using the Sierra 18-3001. And then I'm going to change the shift boot seal, the upper seal, the lower seal, the spaghetti seal. With this gear case kit, I'm using 18-2681. Alright, so here we go with that. Okay, I got the gear case completely apart. Now I'm going to start changing seals. There's the shift boot seal. It's got to be replaced. Alright, there's the old impeller. Doesn't look too bad. Gonna put a new one. There's a spaghetti seal. It goes around the housing. That's got to be replaced. Then the lower seal on the bearing here, and the upper seal underneath the hub's got to be replaced. So I'm going to go ahead and replace all that now. Here we go. Alright, rebuild complete. I've replaced the starter rope and the handle. I've rebuilt the Magneto ignition system, spark plug wire, boots, coils, points, condensers. I've rebuilt the carb. Rebuilt the carb kit, cleaned it. Modified the power head for a single line fuel system. I've changed the 3 seals on the lower unit, gasket seal, spaghetti seal, and impeller. And that's the complete rebuild. That's the end of part 2. Stay tuned for part 3 when we put her back together and test her, run her in the barrel and run her in the bayou. Hope you enjoyed the video. Here at T Mike's Vintage Outboards, we're doing it one motor at a time. Please click on subscribe. I guarantee to provide weekly videos. Merci beaucoup and laissez les bon temps rouler.